Beverly Hills, 2016. FBI agents execute a federal warrant, storming right through the front doors into the massive luxury mansion of actor Leonardo DiCaprio. They walk right past his Academy Award for The Revenant and head straight for his private art collection. They tag a Picasso, a Basquiat, and an actual Oscar statuette once belonging to Marlon Brando. In total, they catalog over $30 million in highly recognizable collectibles. The authorities aren't arresting DiCaprio. The actor is watching them dismantle his collection because every single piece of it has been legally flagged as stolen property. How does one of the biggest movie stars in the world end up living in a house full of stolen artifacts without realizing he is caught in the middle of a multi-billion-dollar international crime? To find the answer, we have to go back to Las Vegas in 2012, to what is considered the most expensive birthday party ever thrown. Britney Spears jumps from a cake, Kanye West performs live. $10,000 champagne flows freely among a guest list packed with billionaires, athletes, and A-list celebrities. Millions of dollars evaporate in a single evening. Standing at the center of the room, paying for all of this, is the birthday boy, a 31-year-old Malaysian businessman named Jho Low. He looks a bit awkward in an ill-fitting suit, and almost no one at the party knows who he is or what business he runs. Why are the most famous people on Earth happily accepting millions in gifts and drinks from a complete stranger? And where exactly is an unknown 30-something getting this kind of cash? The money started flowing 3 years earlier in Malaysia. In 2009, the government launched 1MDB, a $6 billion sovereign wealth fund built specifically to finance public infrastructure like hospitals, schools, and roads. Prime Minister Najib Razak took control of the fund and needed someone to manage the international investments. He bypassed seasoned financial experts and quietly gave full access to a young university friend of his stepson, Jho Low. Low held no official title. He wasn't on the board of directors. His name appeared on exactly 0 public documents for 1MDB. He was a complete ghost to the standard auditing processes. Billions in state funds were suddenly sitting in the hands of an unaudited, unofficial advisor whose primary qualification was a personal friendship with the prime minister. Look at this diagram showing how the theft actually worked. Low set up hundreds of international shell companies to funnel the money out of the country under the guise of legitimate government investments. He bypassed international audits by mimicking the names of real corporations. He created a fake company called Abar Investments PJS Limited, adding just one extra word to a legitimate firm's name so a casual glance wouldn't raise alarms. In March 2013, 1MDB approved a $1.03 billion transfer for a fake energy project. The funds left the Malaysian government and landed in Low's fake Seychelles company. Over the next few days, that money bounced to a Swiss bank account, then to Singapore, and finally settled in the Cayman Islands. $1 billion changed hands and crossed 4 borders in a single week. The speed and jurisdictional chaos meant no single bank along the route could see the whole picture. The Swiss bank only saw a transfer from the Seychelles. Singapore only saw money arriving from Switzerland. The ultimate defense against detection was Prime Minister Najib himself. When international auditors tried to trace the funds, Najib blocked their investigations. He had a direct incentive to keep the maze hidden, because hundreds of millions of dollars were landing in his own personal bank accounts. Low now had stolen billions sitting in offshore accounts. To actually use it, he needed to wash it in the real world. He moved to Los Angeles and started a production company called Red Granite Pictures. He poured $100 million into financing The Wolf of Wall Street. A man actively executing a massive financial fraud was funding a Hollywood blockbuster about a man executing a massive financial fraud. He aggressively showered elites with assets. After meeting supermodel Miranda Kerr, he bought her $8 million in diamonds just to make an impression. This created a legitimacy loop. Banks saw a Hollywood producer walking the red carpet with DiCaprio, throwing lavish parties, and spending like a billionaire. They assumed anyone with that kind of extreme wealth and high-profile access had already been vetted. His public excess provided the exact psychological camouflage he needed to keep the banks from looking closely at his accounts. The illusion broke in 2015. Investigative journalist Claire Recastle Brown published a report exposing the missing billions, which immediately triggered a massive multinational FBI manhunt. Hollywood elites faced an embarrassing public reckoning. The FBI seized yachts and mansions. Miranda Kerr surrendered her diamonds. DiCaprio handed over his Picasso, his Basquiat, and his Marlon Brando Oscar. In Malaysia, the fallout collapsed the government. Voters ousted Prime Minister Najib Razak, and he was eventually sentenced to 12 years in prison for corruption and money laundering. But Jho Low, the man who engineered the entire $4.5 billion heist, did not go to prison. He vanished entirely, slipping away with an unknown portion of the stolen funds. The world's most rigorous financial institutions, armed with strict compliance laws and compliance departments, completely failed to stop the largest theft from a sovereign wealth fund in history. It turns out social engineering was far more effective than trying to beat banking security protocols. Low used red carpets, famous friends, and sheer confidence to make his money unquestionable. The ultimate vulnerability in the global financial system isn't a lack of auditing math. It is our collective susceptibility to the blinding psychology of wealth and status.